this book was composed in order to tackle specifically the doubts placed in the hearts of Muslims by New Atheism. New Atheism was a movement that started post 9/11, led by Richard Dawkins. I make reference to it in the introduction. I mentioned, of course, yesterday was the anniversary of the 9/11, September the 11th, 2001 attacks. 20 years on, today we are sitting 20 years and 1 day later. That after the 9/11 attacks, a movement started against religion, but specifically against Islam. And that movement was politicized. This is why it's referred to as New Atheism, as opposed to Old Atheism, which was more embedded in classical philosophy and more of an objective approach towards religion, represented by the classical philosophers, well, now classical philosophers, the likes of Bertrand Russell and others. But the post 9/11 New Atheism movement was not as gracious and represented a more rhetorical, firebrand version of atheism, which I make reference to. Of course, on page 5, I state, the Pope of New Atheism is without doubt Richard Dawkins, a renowned evolutionary biologist and social media troll. So he's a social media troll who once wrote, and this is one, I give an excerpt from one of his an example of his trolling, where he writes, "Listening to the lovely bells of Winchester, one of our great medieval cathedrals, so much nicer than the aggressive sounding Allahu Akbar, or is it just my cultural upbringing?" These are the type of tweets and social media posts that are placed by New Atheists. Another example is, he writes, "With respect to those meanings of human that are relevant to the morality of abortion, any fetus is less human than an adult pig." So what I demonstrate in the introduction is that New Atheism is in fact a moral decline, and this is represented in the cover. So many people ask, what does this cover actually represent? Why is London burning at the bottom? Why do we see London burning? Now, because people tend to represent Islam with terrorism, they automatically make an association of London burning with Islamic terrorism. But the reality is that London burning at the bottom is representative of dystopia. That atheism causes a dystopia, eventually society disintegrates. If you had atheism prevalent and rampant in society, it would lead to a disintegration of society because of a lack of morality and ethics. Now, atheists deny this, but ultimately that is the result of atheism, the disbelief or the unbelief of a God who dictates morality and ethics to humanity. And the top part, which is actually taken from a dome, perhaps in Samarkand or in Central Asia, it represents the creativity of Al-Islam. This represents creativity, that Islam is creativity, atheism is dystopia. And there is in the dome as well a calligraphy, a writing which many people did not notice. The calligraphy is a verse of the Quran from Surah Nuh alayhi salam in regard to kufr, disbelief. So even the cover has a significant meaning. And the dedication of the book, as I mentioned in the introduction, many people ask me regarding this. This book is dedicated to every Sancho Panza in the world. Sancho Panza is a reference to the character in Don Quixote who keeps Don Quixote in check with reality. So the Muslim today and the seeker of truth is a realist, a person who wants to stay in touch with reality. And this is why even the books of Kalam, they mention haqa'iqul ashya'i thabitatun, that the realities of things are something established. So the introduction goes into the aggressive form of New Atheism, which was politicized. It was not just rhetorical arguments against religion, it was also politicized. It was also Anglo-centric, viewing Western white Anglo civilization as something superior that must be exported out to the world.